welcome to the place where an atheist can converse with a Christian and try to sort out, what do we have in common? What can we actually agree on? We live in a culture that teaches, oh, if you're an atheist and a Christian, you should be debating and proving each other wrong. You're ignorant, you're wrong, you're immoral, you're stupid, all these things. I say, no, we're above that. We have higher IQs and higher EQs than that, emotional intelligence levels. So ultimately, what I want to sort out is this. And I'm asking, most of people watching this video are atheists because it's marketed for you, for us to sort out what we have in common, what we can agree on. See if you can agree with me on this. This is my opinion. My opinion is that Christians should forfeit the right to be offended. Christians should forfeit the right to be offended. That's what I believe. That's how I personally live my life. Now, granted, I am also libertarian. So just to be sure, am I saying, okay, all Christians, very much by this rule I've created, you need to make sure that you're never offended? No, what I'm saying is it's an ideal standard for Christians to live by, is to get to the point where you don't get offended by anything anybody says about you, to you, implies about you. Don't allow other people to affect you emotionally based on what they say or imply. So you decide, oh, it is a choice. It's a breaker switch that I switch off as far as allowing myself to be offended, disrespected, somebody hurting my feelings. And on a similar note, it's always your decision whether you forgive someone. It's also your decision whether you just live your life in a way that you say, you know what, I'm willing to forgive people. I'm ready for it. What can be done? Oh, somebody cut out in front of me on the interstate. Nope, I'm not upset. It's cool. It's no problem. Somebody just said something that's like they implied that I was lazy at my job, but I'm gonna let it go because it's okay. It doesn't matter. Making a conscious decision to not be offended. I think that ultimately is what Christianity teaches us. So let's take a look at, I'm gonna look at a verse right now that I'm sure most of us are familiar with. Even for atheists, a lot of atheists that watch my channel grew up in the Christian faith. So that I'm sure this is not shocking to you to hear in Mark 15. Again, you've heard this before. It's not like I'm teaching anything new. Jesus before Pilate. So it says, very early in the morning, the chief priests with the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole Sanhedrin made their plans. So they bound Jesus, they led him away and handed him over to Pilate. Are you the king of the Jews? Asked Pilate. You have said so, Jesus replied. The chief priests accused him of many things. So again, Pilate asked him, aren't you going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of? But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed. End quote. So let's just fathom that. Jesus was being accused of things, I'm sure many of them not even true, and he didn't decide to engage. He didn't try to debate. And that's one of the major themes of this channel as far as these atheist videos. You know, I have a lot of viewers who are atheists who will say, well, you're being dishonest if you don't debate. Why are you talking to atheists if you're not willing to defend what you believe? Well, ultimately, because I believe there's not going to be a winner in that. It's ultimately just people hurling insults at each other. I think what's most important at this juncture is that we say, you know what, we can agree to disagree, so let's find out what we can actually agree on besides the fact that we can agree to disagree. So what I'm asking you as an atheist viewer, can you agree that in theory, if Christians are at least going to be consistent within their own belief system, that Christians of all people should not allow themselves to be offended? We live in an outrage culture, right? There's even outrage advertising. I actually buy into the theory that it's a very good possibility that with the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, that the first trailer was never intended to actually be what the movie was going to be. That was more of a draft that they did, so that knowing that they'd be improving it, then when the real thing, people would applaud them as heroes. But they knew at first they'd let people outrage them. That's a theory that I saw on Screen Rant. It very easily could be true because that's how easy it is to trigger culture, people, especially people on the internet, which is so much of my motivation and why I specifically do not want to debate with people. And again, we saw Jesus in that example. He refused to debate. He refused to feel attacked, even though when they were accusing him of things that probably were false. At least some of the things were false, I'm sure. And he refused to be offended by that. He refused to be outraged by it. He just let it happen. I feel that that's ultimately the biblical example. Even when we look at Jesus in the Bible, I don't see him getting offended. Yes, he did get angry when they were making profits there in the temple. That was anger. That was to him heresy, and that's why he reacted the way he did. But as far as him getting offended on it, but I know. I mean, we live in a society where it's almost like a badge of honor to be offended. And you can look for this, and it's almost like you're a hero if you get offended. When I say it's the opposite, it's you should be respected if you do not get offended. Even last night when I was watching the movie, I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Can we agree on that? Do you like Bruce? Blinded by the Light, and it was about a Muslim young man and how he and his family and other Muslim families were being discriminated against. And they never acted out in rage or got offended, got mad. And that's a Muslim doing it. I think definitely that should be the ideal Christian concept, to not be offended. I say that if someone does something that in theory is an offense, I say the Christian should be using that as an opportunity to show grace to that person. Instead of reacting emotionally, saying, nope, I'm in control of my own emotions. It's always my decision to be offended. I'm not going to be offended. And instead, can I react in some sort of unexpected kindness? Maybe that's exactly what that person needs. Because I have learned in my life, I've even taught myself, that often when people attempt to insult you or offend you or disrespect you, whatever it is, whatever you want to put in that category, a lot of times it's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. They question their own identity. They're not very confident in who they are. And that's why they lash out to other people. That's why they angrily react for things that in theory are neutral, like when you're driving out of the car, if they perceive that you cut them off or they perceive you're driving too slow, whatever it is, they're reacting out of something broken in them, and that's how they broadcast that. They're showing you what they look like on the inside and those things they haven't sorted out yet. But I say, in theory, the ideal standard for Christians is to not get offended, is to forfeit the right. Do we have the right to be offended? Sure. But what if we forfeited that right as Christians? So the twist is, most of you watching this are atheists, and that's how you found the video. You typed in atheist sort by new on YouTube and I pop up even though I'm not an atheist. But that's why it's interesting. Because I'm asking you as an outsider, can you agree that in theory, Christians should forfeit the right to be offended? In a world that easily gets offended and triggered about everything, shouldn't we be the first people who, when an offense is committed, we respond with grace? Is that not the biblical model that Jesus teaches? Wouldn't that actually serve as the opportunity for us to show grace to people, which is what God's love is all about? So am I saying that all Christians should forfeit the right? I think it's all about your faith journey and where you are. But I think the more that you study who Christ is and the more you learn about him, it's a matter of, well, of course I could be offended, but I would rather show grace. I'd rather show forgiveness. I would rather turn off my pride, because I feel that when we look at sins listed in the Bible and people get caught up on certain sins, especially ones that clearly don't apply to them, that group of people, they're worse off. They're worse sinners than me. But pride is one thematic sin that we keep seeing throughout the Bible. That pride in itself, the moment we think that we're better than someone, the moment we think that we deserve something because of whatever reason, then we're venturing into pride. I say, ultimately, that's another reason that Christians, in theory, should forfeit the right to be offended. Because if we're not living in pride, if we're living in humility, which is what the example Christ taught, then of course, by default, don't we give up our right to be offended? When someone says, we saw what Jesus did, he didn't even bother debating back, which again, if you're watching my videos regularly as an atheist, and a lot of it, I feel like I've actually offended a lot of atheists. They take it as offense that I will not debate with them. I will not argue with them on that, because that's not really the conversation that would go anywhere. I think where we're at, as far as Christians and atheists, I feel where we're actually at is we need to understand each other better on a much more initial level first. Because right now everything's in a tribe. Oh, you're on that tribe, I'm supposed to not like you. I'm supposed to argue with you. And I say, no. Let's do this graciously. Let's do this without pride. Let's not get offended. Let's start by finding out what we can agree on. Imagine if someone offends you or does something to offend you and you react by not being offended. That seems like the ideal standard. Can you agree that that sounds like a good standard? Maybe not simply even just for Christians, but all human beings forfeit the right to be offended, and you find out you actually have a better, more quality human experience. In the same way I've already talked about this, forfeiting the right to look down on anybody. Because the moment you do that, that's insinuating pride. I refuse to look down on people. The moment I do, it makes me an instant hypocrite because it's saying that I think that I'm better than that person. And the moment you look down on someone, you're not. Your thoughts, your comments belong right here.